Shedeur had a sore arm. He did not practice on one of the days. He's actually back at practice today, which is good because Dillon Gabriel is limited today with a hamstring issue. So, yeah.
He's limited, and it's funny. I was trying to gauge Coach Riz's temperature on that because I love football guys for this reason. In my eyes, I'm like, oh well, he's limited. I can't expect that much out of him. Coach Riz is like, no. We grade him in the same exact measurement that we graded him on Friday, that we grade him on Saturday. The injury he's trying to play with should not limit him nearly enough, and he's going to try to use it as some sort of little, not that he's going to use it as an excuse, but like he can't. If we're going to try to let him do it, he can't. And so I'm excited to see what he does today.
So that's what's kind of interesting at where we are is it was not a great weekend for Dillon Gabriel. And what's funny about that is it wasn't really a good week for Dillon either. Like so Daryl caught a little bit of flack and kind of went viral for his take on the Sunday show. But it was like, I think Daryl and what he said was just an extension of what people have said when they've been out here.
Yeah.
Which is Dillon has really struggled so far. I was kind of surprised when people were like, how dare Daryl say this? I'm like, well, his job is to give opinions and to report what he sees.
He doesn't work for ClevelandBrowns.com. He works for 92.3 The Fan.
From this part of it, we'll get to because I do want to play the sound here in a moment. But just in terms of Dillon Gabriel, yeah, he's looked bad. And I mean, he's looked like a third-round rookie for most of the time I've watched him at any point here, so It's not a surprise that that's everyone else's take as well.
So I was curious leaving Friday because, again, we got Bernie right over here in the corner, and when we were talking to Bernie last Friday, I mentioned how every time I looked up, it was just a ball hitting the ground that Dillon Gabriel had thrown, and I was like, I wonder how it's going to be perceived. Now, do I think that the training camp stats that get thrown out there every day, do I think that hurt Dillon in the major discussion? Yeah, I do a little bit. I do because you can tangibly look at it and see, and it's more than just he had a not great day. No, 3 for 14 is downright miserable. But what's interesting is how it just kind of snowballed, and then it took its way into Saturday, and then by Sunday, Daryl was able to be just, not even unhinged. He just is unfiltered truth behind it all.
All right, so there is the fact that Dillon Gabriel, who again limited with a hamstring apparently today. There is the fact that that's going on, and then there's the fact that he just hasn't looked good.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to play Daryl from Sunday's show talking about maybe some unfairness going on here. And there actually is a lot of – while I agree with how bad Dillon's looked, the greater premise that Daryl gets to is something I'm going to have to tear apart here in a minute. But here's Daryl from the Sunday show.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting him in a bad spot. You're forcing me to evaluate this kid like he's a first-round pick. He's not. He's a third-round pick, okay? But I'm having to look at him through the lens of he's a first-round pick. It's clear that you're trying to prepare him to play this year. And I think that is a grave mistake. He's not ready for it. I am evaluating him not as a third-round pick. I'm evaluating him as a guy who they're giving first-team reps right out of the gate. Every day, this guy is first up. Occasionally, it's Joe Flacco. But every day, it's Dillon Gabriel first up. Why?
They clearly love him because he's smart, because he goes into the meeting rooms, and I'm sure he blows them away. And that's what this regime is. It's computers, it's spreadsheets, it's in the classroom. I understand that they really like the kid's intangibles and that he probably is a really good leader and that he's intelligent. Like, that's all really good, promising things to hear. That doesn't equate to winning football games, but they kind of think that it does.
Specific to Daryl's point here, they're putting him out there because look at their quarterback room. Like, he's acting like he's stealing reps from Steve Young in his prime. I forgot the point where Joe Flacco at 41 is morphed into John Elway circa 1994. Like, they're putting him out there because this is a what in the hell kind of season. This is a let's see how it plays out season. The idea that the Browns are in the air here, no, the kid looks bad, but how do you get him ready to play? How do you get him to not look bad? Well, reps are the only way out here.
Also, how do you find out that he looks bad? You have to give him opportunities in order to find out that he looks bad. Like, it'd be different if this was 3-4 weeks from now and you're trying to ramp up for week one and it's just a different story. This is the beginning portion. This is the learning stage of this all. You got to find out what these guys can and cannot handle.
Yeah, like arguably my bigger issue with the Browns is I don't think they've given the rookies enough opportunities. So this idea that, he looks bad, so he shouldn't be out there. No, they're young players, and young quarterbacks only develop one way, and that is if they get the reps in meaningful time here. And, by the way, one of the values of Joe Flacco is that Joe doesn't need all the airstrip here to take off for 2025
Yeah.
because he's been in 75 NFL camps.
And this camp 2 years ago. Like, one of the main selling points behind Joe Flacco was that you didn't have to give him any sort of extra reps because he's been there, done that, got the T-shirt. Like, if I was waffling between Joe Flacco and another 38-year-old, 39-year-old, 40-year-old veteran, I'd go with Joe based off of his experience in this system and what you'd be able to do as far as not giving him reps.
Like, listen, I get it. Dillon has not looked good. Cannot get around that fact.
No, he's looked bad.
But if they believe in him, it makes all the sense in the world that they're going to give that dude copious amount of opportunities.
Well, and so what we got to see, though,
to take off and maybe catch fire at some point here, whether you and I think he's a good quarterback or not.
So that's what I'm interested in, though, is what is their reaction to last week? Do they go back to the same thing they did last week, or do we start to see them maybe shift around the reps a little bit and start to advance their logic on what they think about Shedeur versus Dillon Gabriel or anything else? That's what I'm very interested in seeing. I want to know how last week, if at all, if it alters what happens with Dillon Gabriel now.
But it's interesting specifically to the idea of how Browns fans think this should go and how the Browns are maybe running this quarterback search.
Yeah.
I kind of think you have to give the Browns not necessarily the Peterlin pass, which is coming up at 340.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of got to understand it's a four-way quarterback battle. Oh, and then the one guy who I think they really wanted to win the job hurt his hamstring and still isn't a full go. Oh, and then the rookie who they, I think, maybe prioritize most is now banged up and has struggled last week. Like, I think people act like this is a simple thing to do, what they're trying to do. No, it's really, really complex. And the reality is it's going to look pretty messy, even if they end up getting it right in the first place.
Well, so that's kind of the hard part, though, right? Is it's going to look messy even if they nail. And it doesn't seem like they're nailing it, but I don't know that they had a chance to actually get it right anytime you're doing a four-man competition. And so maybe that goes back to the idea of why are they doing a four-man competition?
Oh, no. See, I think that, like, I feel like now that we're in camp, people forget how dire the quarterback situation in the landscape was. You weren't going to get Cam Ward.
It's still really dire, for being honest.
Well, no, it is. But my point is, like, the Browns, what could the Browns have tangibly done different? Like, what better quarterback? No Browns fan wanted Aaron Rodgers.
No, but
that's the guy I said was there.
I do like this camp setup better since Kenny Pickett's been sidelined with an injury. I actually think I like it better.
Is it because he's been sidelined with an injury?
It's a lot clearer in many ways. It's like, all right, Joe Flacco will start the season week 1. That's all set up. That's good. And then between Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, you're just trying to see what the rookies can do. And no one feels like they're stepping on anyone's toes. No one feels like you're taking reps from anyone. You got enough opportunities for everyone. And it just kind of feels like if you're going to do it, that would have been the way to do it to begin with.
By the way, to the Joe Flacco thing, I still think it's up in the air. I think it's definitely trending that way because Joe has looked better. And I think Joe is.
I mean, Joe was awesome on Friday.
Yep.
We can agree on that.
But there's a reason they're still giving Dillon Gabriel very choice opportunities here.
I'd just say this. It's not as if Joe's gone out and grabbed the job. He didn't win this job, if you believe that as of right now. He's just kind of fell into the right circumstance of Kenny Pickett taking himself out for the time being, and then the two rookie quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel vomiting all over his shoes in a week and a half, and then Shedeur not even being given the chances.
So I think to me, This is why I don't think they've just come out and been like, it's Joe's job. One, because I think Kevin likes to have it open as long as he can, just from a competitive standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think something like live tackling is something we're seeing here. And I think this is all a point of trying to get the team ready for week 1. I also just think it's ambitious. If we thought Dillon Gabriel was going to look like a 10-year pro 2 weeks into camp, that was never the expectation. Same thing with Shedeur. So even Kenny Pickett, these are guys, this is a new quarterback room. These are guys who are learning this system. Kenny, this is the first time he's played in this system in his career.
Mm-hmm.
The rookies obviously playing to some of the things that they did in their college career, but it's new. They're under center more than they ever have. So it's like this idea that the Browns are somehow bungling this. Listen, I wanted Shedeur to get more of a fair opportunity early in this. Well, the Kenny Pickett thing, as you mentioned, has opened up a little wiggle room for him.
Yeah, it has
opened a little more wiggle room for Dillon Gabriel. And I really if the Browns have already decided on Joe Flacco, I think they would have jumped the shark on their own thing right now. I think Joe's proving to be everything you hoped it would be, everything you hoped he would be. Yeah, but he hasn't necessarily locked this down. So, okay, let's see if the rookies, you keep getting them out there, see if there's any growth there.
Yeah, but Joe just had to show basically that he's still at a pulse. And he has.
I don't think this has ever been about Joe. This is about, can any of the other three quarterbacks take the job? And as of right now, the answer is no.
And so that's why I say that I don't think Joe's necessarily won anything at this point, but I do think he has won over the perception of everyone, and it's not really anything that he himself has done.
Yeah, well, and I think going forward, like, it's Joe's job unless ... anybody takes it. But I just specifically like to what Daryl was saying, and dude, you and I interact with a lot of fans on Twitter at Nick Wilson Says, at Jay Peterlin, on TikTok, at Nick Wilson Says, at Jay Peterlin.
You like that I keep the socials all the same just because it just makes it easy.
Yes, I don't know why you would change. Like,
some people do.
The people in our business that are like, well, I'm Nick Wilson walks here, and Nick Wilson talks over here.
Nick Wilson boxes your baseball
big
account.
Nicky Dubs over here. It's like, hey, let's uniform this. Let's make it easier for people to follow us on TikTok at Nick Wilson Says. But like, some of the response is, oh, this has been a disaster. It's like, guys, this wasn't okay. It wasn't set up to be this beautiful, like, most perfect kind of thing. They have four quarterbacks, none of which really distinguish from the other, and that's what this camp's about. It wasn't always going to be the perfect roadmap to perfection.
No, but what is nice is the idea that if somebody like Dillon Gabriel continues to just completely suck, and that's kind of what it's been over the past week or so, if he continues to just be that, okay, third-round pick, we're going to hammer Andrew Berry for that, obviously, especially when you have some tackles that you could have drafted and needed instead, but it's also the idea that you can kind of discard it, and you still have quarterbacks that you can rely on and quarterbacks that you can go to.
I think that, and this is not a flaw, I think the one perceptional thing that was bound to happen with the quarterback spot for Browns fans is exactly what has happened, and it's something the Browns can't be worried about or control. You've got four quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going. It's just natural that fans are going to want to each gravitate toward the Shahive is going to gravitate toward Shedeur, and think he's not been given a fair chance. The what is it? Dillon's deranged. No, I was trying to think of a
Dillon's deranged.
The Dillon Derangers.
that sounds like a Power Ranger almost.
Well,
I'm the blue Dillon Deranger.
Let's see. He went to. It'd be green because he went to Oregon.
That's right.
And everybody knows the Green Deranger is the real problem. But they're going to think he's the right guy. And then plenty of people out there just love Joe Flacco. So there's nothing he could do to lose the job. I think people are conflating what they wanted to have happen with this job with the reality of what the Browns are trying to do. And I think that's a place where I actually give the Browns an incredible amount of credit for.
I mean, maybe the reality at the end of it was just going to be impossible to appease and to have the entire fan base be happy because you had too many options and too many people with big opinions that were willing to voice it. You're just never going to be able to satisfy everyone in this discussion.
Well, but listen, in the end,
too many people like myself that's like, Dillon Gabriel stinks. I watched Kenny Pickett play in the Steelers. I don't like him.
Well, okay, but see, like, there are people who refuse to believe that Dillon stunk. Those, like, you can't win with those folks.
No, but out of four people, though, out of four different quarterbacks, every fan base, every person in the fan base is going to have two they probably like and two they probably don't like.
And that's 100%
it's going to be a different
fair.
Combination for everyone.
But, like, to me, it's about the process. And the process has not been perfect, as we've talked about. I would have liked Shedeur to get more of a chance because.
Did you talk to Daryl today?
No.
First two times I saw Daryl, as if I didn't see him the first time. He goes, process. I'm walking in the building. He didn't say hi. I go, hi, Daryl. He goes, process. And then I continue to walk on, and I see him over here. He goes, process. I'm like, Daryl, are you stuck on one word today?
I think he is. He's having a stroke. Also,
that should have been the sign. I should have helped him.
MK sending in the Dillon Degenerates. All right.
Oh,
I
nice.
like that.
Okay.
I like that quite a bit. But I look at this, and I don't think this has been a disaster. Like, you can't help that now two of your four quarterbacks have had hamstring issues. You can't help that. Well, you could help the Shedeur stuff, but, like, I think this thing is going as well as possible. Oh, and by the way, if all this just ends up with Joe starting week one, well, then you have the most competent player, the most competent veteran to at least start the season, which was always the
result we were probably going to get to anyway.
Exactly. So it's funny, man. Like, this is just played out, and I see the way it's going, and I'm not really having any sort of trepidation because this is kind of how, in one way or another, expected this thing to go.
I got to say, it's made it for a really exciting and really interesting little couple days here, though.
Oh, yeah. It's great content.
Oh, my gosh. You know how excited this is? Like, we have all these reporters around. This feels like we're watching the Super Bowl in front of us right now. Like, this is like it shouldn't feel this way, but it does. And then, like, Wednesday with the joint practice, I'm juiced up for that. I'm juiced up for Friday in a preseason. Like,
you want to pay for the joint practice on?
I did. I asked you before. I'm like, why don't they air these things? I'll pay $10. I'll pay $15 to watch a joint practice on Wednesday.
To me,
I don't pay for anything. I'd pay $10, $15 to watch that.
To me, somebody saying I'll pay to watch a preseason joint practice is like when somebody's like, "Hey, I got $500 riding on the preseason game."
The market's there.
Where like if you gamble on the preseason, or if you say I'll pay to watch a joint practice, I need you to go like call a doctor.
Do you remember the 1 year, and forgive me if they've continued this on, but I don't remember if they have, the 1 year that started off with OBJ, the Browns aired the orange and brown scrimmage.
Yeah.
I remember us glued to the TV watching.
Oh, no.
Like glued. It's incredible. We were getting like actual play-by-play. I think Nathan was on the call with it, and they were breaking things down. It was like a whole broadcast. It was incredible.
Yes. But remember,
if they did that on Wednesday, I'm in.
Yeah, but part of that was we had such high expectations for that team.
Well, and so they
would be paying for a potential 3-14 team to watch their practice against the Panthers.
I'm loving it.
Who might be a 7-win team.
I need all of this. I need to be able to see with my own eyes what's exactly happening. What's going on with these quarterbacks? How good does Shedeur look? How good does Pickett look? Everything else.
When in a week's time, Elise and I are putting together some sort of oh my God. Intervention. Thank you. Words are hard. Maybe I'm having a stroke. I want you to think back to this moment.
Yeah.
When Elise calls me and says, "Nick, did you tell JP that he should put down 200 shekels on the Panthers-Browns preseason game?"
200 shekels?
Yes.
I went from $10, potentially $15 to $200.
That's how sickness works.
Yeah, okay.
All right. That's how they got Class A.
I didn't say I was betting on it.
That's how they got Ortiz.
I didn't say I was betting on it. I'm just invested in watching it. But if you let me do rep by rep betting, maybe I'd be in on that too.
No prop bets on this.
I would go broke on Shedeur Sanders prop bets.
It would be
a joint practice against the Panthers.
At some point, you'd just be like, I no longer live in No-So. We're renting a nice 1-bedroom in Lower Akron, LA, as I call it.
What happened? Well, it wasn't even the preseason games. We couldn't even make it to those. We just got the joint practices. But it's interesting though. All this is interesting. Are you telling me? Am I just out of my mind? Is that what this is? Like there's an energy here. Like people are excited to even just watch these 11-on-11 throws that like you wouldn't believe.
There is. So to what you're saying, I will give you credit. There's a lot of living and dying with individual throws, and it's actually kind of built day by day. Today there was like I think it was a Flacco throw on a little slant over here, and there was an audible
I mean,
it was like, guys, it's a 10-yard slant.
People are very and maybe it's because we know 6-7 weeks into the season we won't have this level of enthusiasm, and so we have to kind of eat it up now. But like, this is fun.
So my answer is hell no to people who say, "Has the quarterback battle been a disaster?" Guys, it wasn't exactly like this was set out to be the world's greatest voyage. There was always a Titanic-type element to this. And I don't think it's been the Titanic yet.
Well, and you had room for what I would call a mulligan in this scenario. And if Dillon Gabriel ends up being the mulligan after a bad week and it just continues on that way, you had room for it. As much as we value the third-round pick, and we do, and wish he would have done something a little bit differently, if it was always about throwing darts at the dartboard and giving yourself as many opportunities to get one of these QBs right, then you had to factor in the mulligan side of this as well.